It's so easy to pay a bill or an invoice. You just make the payment and you're done. Right? Wrong. Accounts payable, especially at scale, can be one of the more complex operations at a business. Let's go through the accounts payable process to demonstrate the steps it takes to properly pay an invoice. We're going to start from the invoice to the approval, the coding and input, and then finally making the payment. The starting point for accounts payable is the invoice or bill to pay. So what do you have? What is it? What are we paying? What action is required to make a payment? Do you have a contract? Do you have a purchase order? Is it materials? Is it travel? Is it entertainment? Is this a one-off payment or a recurring payment? Is this a real invoice or possibly fraud? These are just several questions you need to ask yourself before you even do anything with the invoice. And let's talk about the type of accounting. Entering invoices to be paid is accrual-based accounting. You're recognizing the expense before the cash goes out the door. Cash-basis accounting will recognize the expense once you make the payment. So let's walk through a simple example. This is a legal invoice. I have legal services of $5,000. I need to reimburse my attorney $500 for travel. So we're paying $5,500 per his invoice. From a journal entry perspective, which is the heart and soul of an accounting system, this is what it's going to look like when we enter the invoice. What's the coding related to those transactions? And this, we're debiting legal expense and we're debiting travel expense and ultimately crediting accounts payable. Now, legal and travel expense, those are expenses on the P&L, the income statement. The credit to accounts payable, that is a liability on the balance sheet because we owe our attorney $5,500, but we have not paid him yet. It's a liability. So now that we have our invoice, we know what it's for. Who has authority to approve the payment? These are our internal controls we want to put in place. Who can give the okay to issue this payment? Is it an owner? Is it a department head? Is it board of directors? Manager? And then once you figure out who is going to approve that, what sort of workflow is in place? Do you have a system where you can send them an invoice to approve? Are you handing it to them and they're signing off on it? Is it going through an email? How are you getting the approval, the okay to make the payment? Approval is a big part of internal controls when you're setting up an accounts payable system or running an accounts payable department. And another key feature, another key aspect of accounts payable is the coding. Do you know where to code it? Do you need to ask somebody where to code it? A large organization is going to have a lot of cost centers. Small business, you're not going to have any cost centers. You're just going to have general ledger accounts you're coding stuff to. You still want to know what account you want to code it to. Do you need to ask somebody? Do you know? Do you have something you can reference? Consistency is key. Now, if we haven't already entered the invoice into the system, let's start that process. In this video, we're going to use Quickbooks to go through a sample invoice and enter it into the system. This is a local utility invoice, and we're going to put it into Quickbooks. Now, key aspects, key things we want to do when we're entering an invoice is we want to give it a good description. We want to make sure we put the invoice number in. If you put the invoice number in, it prevents you from paying the same invoice twice. It'll notify you of a duplicate invoice number and make sure you don't pay the same invoice twice. And you want to look at the amount and we want to look at the coding. Do we have good coding? And do we know how much we're going to be paying in this invoice? All right, here's QuickBooks Online. And we're going to pull up Create a Bill, and we're going to pay an invoice. Sorry, we're not going to pay an invoice. We're going to enter an invoice. Now, this is a local utility bill. I have the vendor already set up. Here's my invoice that I've generated. Here's the invoice that I have received. I generated this, but this is a fake invoice that I created for this example. We want to grab the invoice number. We want to enter the amount. We want to give this a really good description. And we want to put the invoice date in here. All the information that goes back and we can reference in this invoice, replicate it in our QuickBooks system so we can have the exact information from our invoice in QuickBooks as well. And we want to look at what they're charging us. What should the coding be? This is an easy one. It's utilities. We're going to book this to the utility general ledger account, and we're going to give it a really good description. So when we look at the general ledger, we know exactly what we're seeing. When we run reports, and we look at accounts payable, or we look at expenses, or we look at anything else that is on the financials, we'll know exactly what we're looking at based upon our description. We don't even have to go to the invoice if we do a good enough job. I can't remember exactly where this memo line shows up. I think it shows up in the check, but I want to give it the same description, a really good description, so I know what I'm looking at. And QuickBooks is nice. You can actually attach your invoices within the system. So even though we put a really good description, if we need to reference that invoice, we can go into our system, pull up the invoice, and take a look at it as well. If you've gotten any value out of this video, please smash that like button and consider subscribing. Also, I post daily quiz questions to my YouTube page. If that is of interest, check that out every day. I post it at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every day, new quiz question, accounting, finance, economics. Check it out. So we got our invoice in the system. How do we actually pay our vendors? Well, we have a lot of options. You can pay by cash, checks, ACH, wire, third-party applications. Maybe we have a corporate card. We're going to get the points by putting it on a credit card. There's a lot of options to pay your vendors. And depending on your vendor, they might have a lot of options or they might not. Some vendors just want cash. Some vendors take credit cards. Some vendors have every option possible out there. And now that we have all these invoices in our system, and again, when you enter the invoice, it doesn't mean it's getting paid. It's been entered to get paid. You need to manage the accounts payable aging. What invoices need to be paid and when, making sure vendors are getting paid timely. The other aspect is cash flow. How quickly do you need to pay these vendors? How much cash do you have? Can you manage them to the due date? What vendors are flexible? What vendors are not flexible? All right, in the background, I got QuickBooks. I am selecting several transactions that I want to pay, and I'm going to generate a check in this situation. I've selected 2 transactions from my accounts payable aging. These are invoices that I've entered, and I'm going to go through the process of printing the check. Now, I'm just going to PDF the check here. I'm actually not going to print these to a real check, but you can see what the PDF looks like. Here's the PDF. We would print this to your check printer, print it onto check paper. These would be invoices, or these are checks that could get signed and then sent out to your vendors. Make sure your check numbers in your system match your check numbers on your check stock. Everyone's done this where you print the wrong checks on the wrong check stock and you got mismatched check numbers in your system. It makes it really difficult when you do cash reconciliations. So I've paid those invoices, and I want to touch on the accounting because I think that's the heart and soul, and it makes you understand what's going on in QuickBooks or an accounting system. Is when I make those payments, I'm debiting a liability, the accounts payable liability we put on the books when we enter the invoice, and I'm crediting cash for the money going out the door. So I've relieved a liability and I've reduced an asset in the form of cash. That's how accounts payable works from an accounting journal entry perspective. All right, let's go through the kitchen sink of topics. I want to touch on these because I think they're important. And internal controls in accounts payable, super critical. One of the critical ones to prevent fraud is separation of duties. Now, if you are running a small business, you might not have this luxury. If you're running a mid-sized, larger business, you got to put these in place. Basically, anyone that's entering invoices, cutting checks, cannot sign checks. That's an example of separating duties. You do not want the person entering the invoice, then cutting the check, and then signing it. That's a real easy way with someone with malicious intentions to hide what they're doing and steal money from your business. You got to put those separation of duties in place. Another one you want to put in place if you have electronic transactions like ACHs and wires is dual approval. Someone who enters a wire or an ACH cannot approve that wire or ACH. You want someone else to go behind them and check who they're paying. You want to make sure they're not paying themselves, paying family, paying friends. This is a good internal control to put in place to prevent fraud. Positive pay and ACH filter, non-negotiables. You got to have them on your accounts, your bank accounts, especially if you're running a business. Positive pay lets you notify the bank what checks are okay to pay. Anything else gets flagged, and this prevents a lot of fraud. If someone steals your check stock and tries to cash a fake check, you can reject it. It will not go through. ACH filter, another good one. Someone tries to hit your bank account unauthorized, you can reject that transaction that is hitting your bank account. You got to do it timely. You got to look at it that day. But these are things you can put in place to make sure people are not stealing from your bank account. Escheatment. This is when you send a check. No one cashes it. Maybe it got lost in the mail, and then you reissue it. Still doesn't get cashed. Eventually, you just run out of time. The person doesn't cash it. You then take those checks and you escheat it to your state. Basically, you give the money over to the state. The person can claim it from the state, but it's no longer your problem. You can get it off your books. You won't have these checks sitting in your cash reconciliation for 2-3 years. All right, that's the accounts payable process, the cycle from taking an invoice, getting it approved, coding it in the system, and then ultimately paying the invoice. I hope you learned something from this video. Have a good rest of the day, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, and goodbye.